Fang, the founder of Bliss Finance, where your money is happy. Welcome to the letter of credit process. Now, if you are engaged in international trade, it is very important for you to understand all the ins and outs about letters of credit because it is a secure mechanism for payment upon fulfillment of obligations. So here it goes. Here's the flow of how international letters of credit works. Now, first on one side, you have a buyer, an applicant, or importer. And on the other side, you have a seller, beneficiary, or exporter. The way the LC terms indicates who is if I am an applicant, that means I'm actually a buyer. I'm also an importer. But if I'm actually a exporter, I'm also known as the beneficiary under the LC term, which I'm also the seller. So first, you must make sure that you engage a sales contract between the two parties. So once you have everything engaged, you got everything lined out, the next thing as a buyer, what you're going to do next is go ahead and open up an LC with a bank. And you must have a relationship with this bank, and this bank is also called an issuing bank under the term of LC. So once an LC has been opened, the issuing bank is go ahead and process that and issue the letters of credit to the foreign bank. That foreign bank is called the advising bank. Also, it can be confirmed as a confirming bank. The difference between confirming bank is that bank is going to authenticate the validity of the LC. So it's very important that you understand once an LC is authenticated, that kind of gives some additional protections for the seller. So once that information has been received, the bank is going ahead and advise the letters of credit to the seller. So once the seller reviews exactly what's spelled out of the terms and conditions under the LC, the seller then is going to ship the goods directly to the buyer. Now, in the meantime, once everything is ready to load and all of that, the seller is going to provide all the documentation to the negotiating bank. Now, what are the documentation that seller is going to provide? Things such as bill of lading, commercial invoice, insurance policy, certificate of origin, inspection certificate, or all the other documentation that is actually spelled out very specifically under the terms and conditions of LC. So once the negotiating bank receives it, their job is to check the documents, make sure everything's in order, and make sure there's not going to be any discrepancies. And once that's been really pretty much negotiated, they are going to forward the documentations to the issuing bank. So the job for the issuing bank is also going to make sure they check the documents, make sure there's not going to be any discrepancies. So once that takes care of it, the negotiating bank, sometimes also known as the reimbursement bank, is going to go ahead and pay the seller. So once that's happened, the reimbursement bank is also going to claim the reimbursement bank from the issuing bank. Now, the issuing bank then is going to release the document that's been executed and negotiated and reviewed, so that way the buyer can actually claim the goods from the custom and claim from the custom. And then what's going to happen is the issuing bank is going to debit the account and turn around and pay back the reimbursement bank. So all the parties involved get what they needed and a big happy family, right? So this is a very, very simple flow of how LC works, who the parties are, and where everybody is pretty much guaranteed for payment. Now, if you are an exporter, under the US government, we also have what we call the Export and Import Bank, but not everyone is eligible. You first must be in business for 3 years. Second of all, you must have one person working in the firm full-time, working as an exporter. And third of all, you must have a positive net worth in order for the government to work with you. And the fourth, you must export the product or services that's provided by the US workers. And then last not least, you must have a Dun and Bradstreet number in order for the government to work with you. There's a lot of resources out there, and what I'm going to do is also I'm going to include a link that kind of guides you through exactly how all that's going to work. So I hope this session serves you. Until I see you next time, stay unique, be alive, and make an impact.